Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data. We look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I am your confused host, Preston Proctor. Talking so fast, I can't hear what I'm saying. Good day. Hey, this is Predators Proclivity, not what in the world is going on with our host. Anyhow, well, what a weekend for the Preds. 2 big wins. That was awesome. Made it to the Columbus game. We usually really like to take our nephew. He went to school in Columbus, so he talks like he thinks he's a Blue Jacket fan. I think he does follow them, but I don't think he's really that much of a hockey fan. But every time we take him to the Columbus games, Nashville wins. So he had to work, so we couldn't take him. But was really thinking about that for a long time. Saturday night when just did not seem like Nashville could get a lead. They played great. This was a home game. Tonight's game is a road game, so not pertinent on a what they're doing on the road standpoint. But they played great in the first period. Absolutely fantastic. Just could not get the puck in the net. But hey, they in the end, they had the lead. That's what mattered. So glad to see that. Just wanted a lead at some point, and we did get a lead, but that was at the end. So more relevant is the on-the-road game at Chicago that they also won. So good. The Preds are now on 3-5. So much for them being 0-5. And 0-5 teams don't make the playoffs. Well, they haven't made the playoffs yet, but at 3-5, they are ahead of where Edmonton was last year when they were 2-10 after 12 games, and they were in the Stanley Cup final. And maybe a goal or two from winning the Stanley Cup, and they were 2-10. So now Nashville is 3-5, and that is way better. Much happier about that. But it's game day, and tonight the Predators are in Tampa. Wonder who they're going to be taking on. I don't know. Maybe they'll play Detroit. Probably not. Nope, they're done with Detroit. Can't play Detroit in Tampa. Hey, let's play the Tampa Bay Lightning. What do you say? Why not? Got to play them eventually. The Lightning are 5-3 overall, and they're 3-1 at home. They are second in the Atlantic Division with 10 points. They are 3 points behind Florida, but they have 2 games in hand. So they Florida and Tampa are looking pretty strong so far this season. Tampa did have some issues at the beginning of the year. They were supposed to play a home-and-home game with Carolina. They played in Raleigh, and Tampa Bay did win that game, but the Tampa game was postponed to Saturday, October 12th game because of a hurricane. Not the Carolina versions, the kind that comes over the ocean. So the Carolina Hurricanes game was postponed because of hurricane. I guess they must have had the flags out. All right. They were back at it by Tuesday, so they only missed the 1 game, and they went and won those 2 games at home against Vancouver and Vegas. They started off strong. They won 3. They then went on the road and lost to Ottawa and Toronto, won in New Jersey, followed by a loss at home to Minnesota. This past Saturday, they beat Tampa. They beat Tampa. Boy, terrible. They beat Washington in Tampa. So the Capitals were in Tampa on Saturday, and the Tampa Bay Lightning won. Goalie Vasilevsky has played all but one of the games, and so he's 4-3, and Johansson got the win in New Jersey, his only start so far this season. In the offseason, they made a number of changes. Their current lineup has 6 new people. Could have changed. I guess I could have looked to see if there was a change on their roster today. I forgot to do that. This is not one of those things I meant to and should have and forgot. That tally is still fairly low, but it's something I should have done and didn't think of. I spent my morning trying to get the my special teams spreadsheet for the Preds updated and straight, and so that I could start monitoring, what the Preds are doing on special teams and seeing if there's anything in particular there that is of note. The Preds do now have a shorthanded goal, which is awesome. Nyquist got that, and otherwise, not really sure I saw very much yet that is indicative. The opposition has gotten a goal while there was a 5-minute major, which maybe anybody cares about, maybe you don't, but it's something to track. Just curious, if there's certain things that that stand out. Last year, I thought, well, let me track, power plays, and so this is since it's the beginning of the season, it's easier to do because it's a little bit of work to go through and figure out the power plays, which are different from penalties. You have a power play because of a penalty, but you may have more than one power play in the term of a penalty because if there's a penalty and you're 5-on-4, and then there's a penalty that goes to 5-on-3 or 4-on-4, those are separate power play stats. So trying to break all that up, and really I need to start looking at doing some coding in my spreadsheet, how to make it a little bit easier. I haven't done VBA code in a long time. But there you go. So I did not look up to see if there was any roster changes today. And yes, I did find my way back. I was starting to wonder where in the world I was. Yes, this is a podcast on Stephen or on spreadsheets and how to get obsessed by them. So number of changes. And forwards that are not on the team of this year of note, ex-Nashville Predator Tanner Jeannot was traded to L.A. for a 4th-round 2024 and a 2nd-round 2025 draft pick. Tyler Mate, I'm not sure, unrestricted free agent, signed by Detroit. Connor Sheary is down at their AHL affiliate, Syracuse Crunch. The Syracuse Crunch. It kind of sounds like cereal. But, and then there's this guy, Steven Stamkos. I tried to find some information on Steven Stamkos, and I just couldn't find. Come on. Unrestricted free agent signed by Nashville. All right. New forwards in their lineup, they've got Cam Atkinson. They got off waivers from Philadelphia. Connor Geekie was involved in a trade that also included Mikhail Sergachev to Tampa Bay. So he's a new defenseman. But Connor Geekie was in a trade with Utah, acquired in a trade with Utah for defenseman Janice Moser, a 7th-round 2024 and a 2nd-round 2025 draft pick. They also have Zemus Girgensons, an unrestricted free agent from Buffalo, and Jake Gunsel arrived in a trade with Carolina for a 3rd-round 2025 pick. So Cam Atkinson, Connor Geekie, Zemgus Gergensen and Jake Gunsel are new forwards on the team, replacing Tanner Jeannot, Tyler Mott, Connor Sheary, and Steven Stamkos for now. Defenseman not with the team of note, Calvin DeHaan, unrestricted free agent signed by Colorado, and Mikhail Sergachev, mentioned above, involved in that trade with Utah. And new defenseman on the team, Ryan McDonough, ex-Pred, traded from the Preds to Tampa Bay, along with a fourth-round draft pick, 2024, for a seventh-round 2024 and a second-round 2025 draft pick. Janice Moser is also a new defenseman. And mentioned above. Oh, right. Yes. Yes, I got this. No. That's not clear. Anyway, there you go. Janice Moser and McDonough, new. Calvin DeHaan and Mikhail Sergachev no longer with the team. So those are those personnel changes. As far as goalie changes go, hold on. Janice Moser is not. No, he is with the team. I don't know. Somehow got that trade written down wrong. Sorry about that. No real goalie changes. Matt Tompkins made a couple of appearances last year, but he is back at the Syracuse Crunch. So, same goalies as last year. For Tampa Bay, tonight is the 9th game of the year, and it is the 5th game at home. 9th of the year, 5th at home. Last year, they started off by sprinkling a couple of wins here amongst more losses. Their home and season opener was a win last year against Nashville. By the 9th game of the season, they were 4-5. They are 5-4 this year. The 9th game was an overtime loss to Seattle. They are 5-3 this year. Anyway, 4-5 last year. They're 5-3 this year. Their 5th home game was a win over San Jose to go 4-0-1. They are 3-1 this year. So last year they got off to a good start at home. And so far, so good this year. Tonight's game is the last of a 3-game homestand for the Lightning, 1-1 on this homestand so far. Then they start a 4-game road trip in Colorado on Wednesday, playing Minnesota, Winnipeg, and St. Louis. Winnipeg. Get the feeling I got that wrong, too. 1, 2, 3. 4-game. Yeah. 4-game homes. Colorado, Minnesota. That's Colorado on Wednesday, Minnesota, Winnipeg, and St. Louis. Yes, apparently I didn't have enough coffee this morning. I'm confusing myself. Anyway, so last of a 3-game homestand for the Lightning tonight. On Wednesday, they go to Colorado, starting a 4-game road trip. No reason for Johansson to play. Probably still Vasilevsky. Johansson did play last Tuesday in New Jersey, and Vasilevsky seems to be the primary goaltender. So that would be my guess that Vasilevsky will be in goal tonight. I think I've been pretty good on that. It's not hard. I mean, you figure out who their primary goaltender is, and generally that's who it's going to be, right? I mean, so anyway, I'm just glad I was right. I get so many predictions wrong this year. It's nice to be right once in a while. Okay, and the Predators. The Preds are now 3-5-0, 1-1 on the road. They are 7th in the Central Division with 6 points. 6 points, getting 4 over the weekend. Tonight's game is the only game of this particular road trip, and after tonight, they are back to Nashville for 3. Edmonton, Colorado, and L.A. Tonight is the Preds' 9th game of the year and their 3rd on the road. 9th, and 3rd. Last season, the Preds were 4-5 in their first 9 games, so they're 3-5 so far this year. A win in Tampa tonight will make them 4-5, just like last year. And last year, they were 1-3 on the road in the first 9 games, and so far they're 1-1 this year. They were 1-2 in their first 3 home games, but we're not on home. We are on the road. Oh, no. Last year. Sorry. They were 1-2 in their first 3 home games, losing to Tampa and Boston and beating the New York Rangers. Again, I apologize. I don't know. I can't quite get my head straight. Last season, they were 1-2 in their first 3 home games. This game tonight is the 3rd home game for Nashville. Nashville is 1-1 so far this year on the road, and after 3 games last year, they were 1-2. Hopefully, they'll be 2-1 this year. Preds stats on the road. The Preds have played 2 on the road, so there's not a lot of stats to generate from all that, or anything statistically significant anyway. But they won their last road game on Saturday in Chicago. In that game, Chicago got the first goal of the game in the first period. It was the only goal for that period. Chicago then added a goal early in the second, and then Nashville put up 2 of their own to end the second period, all tied up. The second goal for the Preds was a shorthanded goal, the first of the Preds for this year. The third period was back and forth, but Brady Skay got a power play goal at 13:07 to give the Preds the lead and the win. Go Preds. So, yeah, a good special teams game, shorthanded goal and a power play goal. You know, that's, I don't know, is there a special teams hat trick award? Let's see, what would be the other thing? Well, I guess if you got it, shorthanded, if you got shorthanded 5-on-4 or 4-on-3 or 5-on-3, I don't suppose it really matters. It's still a shorthanded goal and get a power play goal. Well, I guess 4-on-4. If you got a 4-on-4, that's a special teams type situation, non-regular 4-on-4 or 3-on-3. So I guess it's possible to get a hat trick. They got 2, not quite the hat trick, but they got 2. So that's good. They got the power play goal and got the win. So they did not get the first goal of the game. They lost 1 and they won 2 periods. So far, the 3-5 Predators are 3-5 and getting the first goal overall. That's an interesting statistic. 3-5 and 3-5. They are 1-2 when they get the first goal. That's 1-2 at home and 0-0 away. So they have not gotten the first goal on the road yet. And they are 2-3 when they do not get the first goal. They are 1-2 at home and 1-1. 1-1 away. So one of the reasons why I started doing all this last year was that I thought that the Preds did not play well in the second period at home. I was convinced that they did not play well in the second period at home. So I started doing analysis to figure out if that was true. You know, at least from a goal scoring standpoint, that it turned out to be true. And the other thing that kind of annoyed me was the announcers always saying that, getting the first goal of the game was so important. And it turned out that was right. For the Preds, it was a 3-1 advantage getting the goal at home. If they got the first goal, it was 3-1 that they were going to win. And then if it was only like 1-2 on the road if they did not get it. It was a very strong determiner for the Preds winning if they got it, not as strong for the opposition. But this year, it really doesn't seem to be a strong determinator. Again, what do we have? We've got 8 games in the books, so it's not statistically significant. If I remember my statistics right, you've got to have at least 20 data points in order to start having things being statistically significant, and so we're a little bit from that. But we can start seeing trends. The first trend we saw with the Preds was they lost 5 games in a row, and I guess it doesn't really matter what you do, whatever they're doing, everything points to a loss when all you do is lose. You get the first goal of the game and you lose. Hey, well, then the first goal of the game looks like a loss. Forsberg gets a goal. Well, that's also got a loss. When all you do is lose, it's kind of hard to find anything that really makes that interesting. But now we've got 3 wins, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. And so there you go. So far, the first goal of the game does not seem to be very significant. It did last year, and as I've said many times, I didn't play hockey. I understand that hockey is a very low-scoring game most of the time, especially in the Western Conference, and so one goal matters. One goal matters a lot. So if you get the first goal, that obviously puts pressure on because that might be the only scoring in the game. So I can understand that it can be very crucial. So far, it has not been something of an indicator. Okay, so last year at this point, they were 4-4 in getting the first goal overall, 3-1 when they got it. 3-1 when they got it, and 1-3 when they did not. At home, 2-0 when they got it, and 1-2 when they did not, and 1-1 on the road when they got it, and 0-1 when they did not. Now that starts to look a little bit more, I don't know, it's 1-2, 2-3, 3-1, 1-3. It's that starts to look, and the 3-1 actually, the first 8 games, 3-1, when getting it was kind of the indicator. That's what they wound up at the end of the season, getting about a 3-1 advantage at home, or a 3-1 advantage when they got the first goal. So, so last year that showed up early. This far into the season, there still have been no ties in the second or third periods at all. Road, home, playing in the backyard, whatever. There have been no ties in the second or third periods. On the road, 2 games in, they have yet to win the first period. They are 0-1-1. And then in the second and third periods, they are 1-1. So they have won and lost the second and third periods in both of the other games on the road. They have not yet on the road gotten the first goal. So that would be exciting. Get the first goal. That would be tonight. That's a couple of things that haven't happened. That would be a couple of things that have not happened. Get the first goal tonight, and win the first period. Let's just start adding to some of the stats and some of the variances and things that we're seeing. Wouldn't that just for fun? Just for fun. What do you say? Maybe we get the Lightning in on this. Hey, come on, Tampa. Yeah, you guys are having a good season. You can give up the first goal and lose the first period. Just then start playing, I don't think that's going to happen. And last year on the road, the Preds were 1-3 in October. So that is the story about the Preds on the road. Now, let's move to tonight's matchup. Tonight is the first and only game in Tampa Bay. We'll play the only home game in Nashville at the end of November. So this year, those 2 games are close together. Last year, they were, opposite ends of the schedule. Last year, the home team did win both games. The Preds lost 3-5 in Tampa in October and 5-1 and won 5-1 in December. So the goal is, it sounds like, to get to 5 goals. If you get to 5 goals, you're going to win. Actually, I guess if you get past 3 goals, the first to 4. It's like when I'm watching one of my favorite college teams. It's In the past seasons, it's been like a race to 17. It's like whichever team gets to 17 first, and if it's my team, they'll win. If it's the other team, they lose. My team loses, and it was 17, and we got a new coach, and then it was 21. They got a new coach for the last couple of years, and I'm not quite sure what that metric is going to be. So 5 goals. It's probably not too many games in the NHL where you score 5 goals and lose. I think we did see something the other day. I think about a week or so ago. What was it? The Kings lost 7-5 to Calgary. I think. Like, oh my goodness. Did they have goaltenders in that game? That's when you have to start wondering something like that. But last year, both games were also 1-game stands, which is what we're doing again this year. In their home game, in the game in Tampa, both McDonough and Stamkos got assists. Interesting because those guys are on the other guy's team now. And then in the, I guess following that up, in the game in Nashville, McDonough got a goal and Stamkos did not get any points. I thought that kind of interesting. But in the game in Tampa last year, Tampa did get the first goal in the first period. It was the only scoring in that period. Nashville got the only goal in the second period. So the game was tied with one tied and then, tied as far as the periods go. 1 win, 1 loss for both teams. The third period was 2 sets of Nashville scores 1, then Tampa scores 2. Which is how we get to 3-5. So Nashville did not get the first goal. They did win 1 period, the second, and they lost the other 2. Last year, Nashville was 0-12 on the road. On the road, at home, if they lost 2 periods, they lost everything. But it was 12 times last year. 0-12, they lost 2 periods. And when they won 1 period on the road, they were 7-8. So 500 when winning 1, losing 2. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. I guess the Preds could promise not to win the second. Hey, Tampa, throw us the first. That way, we get a little bit of statistical variation. We got this one podcaster that's just, annoying us. Please just give us something. And then the Preds could promise not to win the second. Doesn't mean they won't tie, but we won't win the second period. We'll make sure not to win the second period, but we, promise not to not tie it. So if we get a couple goals, we'll let you have a couple, but right at the end, just to make sure we don't. Well, who knows? I'm doubting that's going to happen, but look out for it. Look out for it. Again, my predictions haven't been very good. I think I did get the goaltenders picked correctly for Chicago. Chicago was a little more interesting because they were in a back-to-back, and a lot of times you play your second goaltender on the. A lot of times, if there's just a toss-up, you play your backup goaltender with what we would consider to be the weaker team. Other things that come into play are their history with that team. So if for some reason that goaltender has a great record against a particular team, then you would play them, even though they would necessarily be the stronger team. So that comes into play quite a bit. I guess the goaltender that Columbus came into the game with the other night has been a Preds killer in the past. So I think this was like his first loss in Nashville in his career, sort of thing. So that's pretty strong. But hey, it's a loss. You lost. It's all your fault. Okay, so tonight's game, the Preds are on a 3-game winning streak. Tampa won their last game. I don't call that a streak. Could. They won their last game, lost the game before that. But that is that with regards to where these teams are. So it should be a good game tonight. It's going to be a battle. Tampa Bay is a very good team. even without Stamkos, they are 5-3 and currently competing with Florida for the top of the Atlantic. No joke kind of game. So the Preds are going to have to be up. We're going to need a good game out of Saros. Saros should be in goal. Had a good game from Wedgwood the other night. Saturday, made some outstanding saves. I didn't see the game in Dallas when he played previously, but it really, really played well in the. And Saros played well on Friday night. They had the. Once again, the Predators are out there and they're allowing a guy to be right in front of the goaltender by himself, and then they get the puck, and that happened. I don't think that happened so much with Wedgwood, but Saros had that happen, and it's just you just kind of have to get just kind of makes you mad. It's like, come on, guys, if there's a defender, even if you're shorthanded, even if you're down a man, you've got to keep a body on those. You got to keep their stick under control. The good players are going to do that thing. That's why you got to have good players that watch out for that kind of thing. And so the Preds have cleaned up their defensive lines and gotten a lot of communicating. I was reading one article, listen to one thing where they talked about how the defenders were starting to talk to each other, and I think Yossi, it was an article with talking to Roman Yossi, and I guess their communication had not been good, and now they are working on it and getting a lot better. So, yeah, definitely seeing improvement, which is great. It's a long season. Lots of games to play, lots of opportunities to improve, and the Preds definitely are improving. They're gonna be a really good team. The players they've got on the team, if they can stay healthy, it's going to be an exciting season to be a Preds fan, and Tampa as well. I like Tampa. I always kind of had a soft spot in my heart for Tampa. I think they're an exciting team. I like the colors. The logo's really cool. And I guess Tutu played in Nashville too. But the players that have gone through Tampa and the history of that franchise have just been stellar. Very exciting players, people you can pull for. So, and since the Kings didn't play them that often, I could find them, I don't dislike them like I do some teams. And, so tonight's game is going to be hard fought. It's going to be a tough game. And it's going to be tough for Tampa Bay, too, because I feel like the Predators they're on a roll, and they're going to come in motivated. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So hopefully the Preds will roll out of Tampa with a win and come back in here and face Edmonton on a high this coming Thursday. And, it's going to be fun. So watch for it. Preds are going to get the first goal and win the first period tonight. That's my only prediction. I guess I can predict Saros will be in goal. Ha And I guess our matchup will be Tampa. I predict Tampa Bay Lightning will be our opponent. Woo! Really going out on the edge there. Anyhow, that's my summary for tonight's game. Tonight it's at 6:30 Central. 6:30 Central is game time tonight. I am Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.